Hi, my name is Kim, and I'm one of the Power Apps developers here at Encore Business Solutions. In this demo, I'm about to show you Power Apps 5-star vendor rating app in Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations, which integrates data into SharePoint. So let's call Finance and Operations FNO for short, and I'll get started here. First, I'll be showing how quickly it is to embed the Power Apps Canvas app into FNO, and then we'll see the app in action. So I'm on the Power FNO environment here at on the Encore Sandbox under accounts payables, purchase orders, and then all purchase orders form. And then on the top right here, we'll see the icon for Power Apps. And if we click that, and click on add an app, and then we'll give the name for the app here and call it add vendor feedback. We will need the app ID, and in a minute I'm going to show you where I grab that app ID. And then on this next text box here, this requires the PO number from the form that we will be passing into the Power App. So in this case, we're going to be passing in the purchase order purge table purge ID, so that we'll be passing in this purchase order number. And then for the application size, I'm just going to use thin here and then click on insert. And that's how quickly it is to embed the app into a finance and operations form. And that's why we'll see it here listed. And then we're going to add another one here before I show how it's being used. This one's called the view vendor feedback. Also requires the ID. And this time around, this requires the vendor account number from the form. So in this case, we're gonna use the vendor account purchase table order account field of the form. And then also we're gonna use a thin size application and then insert. And that's how quickly we added 2 apps into this form. Now let's see the app in action. But a quick explanation on the use case for this. So in FNO, we want an easy way to give a star rating for a vendor without having to go through the full non-conformance or quality order process. And Power Apps gives us that capability. The uh, the app is also really easy to create as well because Power Apps is a low-code and no-code development platform. And by utilizing the Dynamics 365 Finance and Operation Data Connector in the Power Platform, we can easily connect and integrate data without touching the source code for finance and operation. So let's see it in action here. On this form, we can either select a PO or open a PO, either of that, and then open the Power Apps. So in this case, let's try to select this one, PO, and then for Fabricam electronics there, and then open the add vendor feedback. So what's happening right now, as you see the ants marching up there, it was loading the data from FNO, which is the PO number and the vendor account number. That's why we see the information up on the header here. So the next step is now to just give the rating for this vendor for this PO number. So I'm going to say awesome here. and then press submit. And that's how easy it is to give a feedback for a vendor. And I like to show where this gets saved so we know that the feedback was submitted successfully. And the backend for this is the SharePoint list. We are saving the feedback to SharePoint, and that's why we're seeing it here. So anyone who has access to this SharePoint list can do the more further analysis or further reporting if needed. And that's it. Now let's go to the other app quickly here. By if you want to view the vendor feedback, so you just highlight one of the POs here or open the PO, the same thing, and then click on the view vendor feedback, and then the 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 vendor account number from the form gets passed in and would be the default account number on this screen. And then the app will filter the feedback for this vendor. So right now we see that there's only one feedback that we added for this vendor. And you would see the PO number and the rating, the overall rating and the overall feedback for this PO for this vendor, and the date and the user who added the feedback. Now, if you wanted to see more feedback for other vendors, you just click on this button here, and then again, it just defaults to that uh, uh, vendor account number that was highlighted on the PO form. That's why we see it here. But so from this screen, we can now search by vendor number or by vendor name. So, for example, we can now say filter by the vendor name Acme. We see there's only one vendor feedback here, or use the vendor number, and same thing. And that's how quickly it is to use these apps and how easy it is to be embedded into finance and operations. Uh, so one thing I'm wanting to show you guys is how quickly it is, or I mean this screen on this screen is where to get the app ID from. So I'm on the make.powerapps.com, which is the Power Apps Maker portal. And then we'll see under solution section here is the solution for the vendor feedback. And we see that the two apps that I built that we embedded into FNO. And to get the so this is also where I created the app, and we can edit the app from here and play it as well. And but first thing I want to show here is the under details, because once the app is created and saved, then here's where we can grab the app ID. And that's the app ID we use to embed to FNO. So if you take note of that, and the second one as well for the view vendor feedback. And so then the other thing I wanted to show is how quickly it is to share the app to other users. Uh, so there's an option here if you click on the ellipsis there, and or if you open the app now by double clicking, and then there's also a share button here. So if we click this, we it opens up this window, and then from here we can just enter the name or email address, or if you want to select everyone from your organization, if you want to to it, share the app to whoever. Let's say I'm gonna click a colleague here, Todd, and then this is how we can send or share the app to him as a regular user or as a co-owner. And then also make sure that because the app is using the FNO connector and the a SharePoint list, which is that order feedback list. So you just have to make sure that the user has access to those uh, data storage as well. And then you just click on share, and that's it. And it will also send an email if you like. And I think that's it. Thank you.